We may not. I'm not sure yet. We're going to find out. And, we'll kind of wait on the beginning of the show till it's actually up and running. So, till I see some video of it. All right. Hot diggity dog. There we are. Live on the internets. Nice to see you guys. How are you tonight? Happy Friday. Welcome to the channel if it's your first time. Welcome back if it's not your first time. Friday night live show. High Desert Music Channel. We're going to talk about practice tonight like usual on Fridays. See what else we come up with. I got things on my mind, of course. I'm sure everybody does. See where we go. Practice. This week was practice. Let's do this first. Welcome to the audience out there. How are you guys? There they are. Hello. Nice to have you. Thank you for coming by. We've got some audience members in-house. They're pretty happy tonight. We're all glad to be here. Everybody's, thrilled for another Friday night show. Let me hang on a second here. Now that we got it all running, let's just change the whole thing. So anyway, it's Friday, as usual. We're going to talk about some practice this week. I did not get as much time as I should have. Did some playing as out on the front porch in the mornings. Not as much as I should have. Again, I had some things going on this week that I was trying to accomplish. It didn't necessarily work out all that well. But, hey, such is the world, right? It was just kind of one of those weeks, man. Time just got chewed up. And kind of some of that, I guess, is me letting it get chewed up and not, knuckling down and practicing like I should, playing like I should, and not using my time as wisely as I should have or could have. But I picked up a couple of new tunes, like I told you guys, I think about Monday night, and I worked on those. I did spend a fair bit of time this week with that JM4 looper, and I know that was kind of what the show was about on Wednesday. But yeah, that seemed to be a big part of my practice this week. Just kind of improvising, learning how to get better at that, the improv stuff, just playing a backing track on that JM4 looper and playing something, anything at all, and trying to find what I was looking for. Try to find what I was looking for as far as the sound goes, where to play. Again, and like I said on Wednesday, that JM4, it tells me what key it's in, so I can find the right spot pretty quickly. But I am starting to like that pedal quite a bit. I've had it for a while, just haven't really used it, but I am starting to like it quite a bit. So I think it's going to get a lot more use. I would like to say that I had memorized a couple songs this week, didn't quite. I think everybody knows how sometimes the weeks just slide by you, and you don't get things that you wanted to get done. So we'll see what the next week brings up. I don't know. I didn't really play nearly as much bass as I should have this week. I did spend most of my time with the guitar this week. Not that that's bad, or somehow incorrect. But yeah, I did spend quite a bit of time with that pedal, and the pedal is probably going to be a big part of what's going on in the future. At least this coming week, it's probably again going to focus quite a bit of my time with that pedal, and learning to improvise, learning to play new stuff, try to change my picking habits. I did quite a bit of that too this week, probably like an hour or two over the course of the week of just no backing track going, and a guitar in my hand, and just strum a different pattern and try to come up, with a pattern that works, and keep it and maintain it, and just practice that sort of a thing, which, again, as I've talked about before, isn't directed, isn't being done with a specific goal and purpose in mind, so it may not be the best of practice strategies, but I'm still doing it, obviously. And it to me, it can't be anything but helpful to try and expand the speed and the timing and the different ways of picking a guitar and strum and pick, and just kind of practice with my right hand this week. So I did quite a bit of that, actually, and try to get some chord change in there while I'm just strumming, down, down, up, up kind of thing, down, 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 up, down, whatever the patterns I could come up with, and then work on chord changes while I was doing that, because I'm not playing a song, so I don't need to keep a beat or a rhythm. Just try to change the chord and get them down faster and faster and faster. So that that was a decent part of my practice this week. I got like Tuesday night, like I said, I completely missed a whole day's worth of practice. Had stuff going on in the daytime, and then I went out that Tuesday night. I'm pretty sure it was Tuesday night. I think so. And got the nighttime pictures in the desert to try to get that stuff up on the channel. Messing around with that stuff. Got the Patreon page put together. I think it might even show up. I'm going to make sure about that stuff that is showing up in the descriptions, and it's going to be linked, and you guys can see it. Not that not that any of my original current viewers are going to care about that, but it's there. So that's kind of how it went this week, man. I did stuff like that. Tuesday night I went out and got those pictures, and they were great, man. I got some cool pictures that I need to now, and I guess this is, again, like I always say, it's kind of practice, at least channel practice. I need to edit these. I got good video of a cool thunderstorm with a basically full moon passing through it. So I need to dig through that video and try to get some still images of the lightning strikes and stuff, and get something cool like that to add to the channel for maybe, if you guys noticed the new picture that I got up for the thumbnail, try to make better thumbnails, and use some of those lightning pictures to do it. I'm going to try to do that. So that's kind of that's some of what my time went this week to doing that. As I've said before, I have a kind of an old computer that doesn't work so fantastically well, and it moves slow, and it takes a while for some of these things to happen. It was like, geez, man, I want to say it took like 30 or 40 minutes to pull the pictures from the telephone over to the computer, and I haven't even pulled the card out of the video camera yet to see if that got me anything at all. So we'll see how that goes. I don't know. But overall it was a pretty decent week. It did, I did get a fair bit of time. I got my standard, I didn't get as much time. I might have been an hour or two short this week. And I realized, a lot of people probably an hour or two is all they get in a week to practice, and I'm fortunate to have quite a bit more time than that, right? Especially right now, to practice. And just have tried to always make it a point. I'm really beginning to realize that I need to, if I want improvement from my music and I want improvement from my instrument playing abilities, it's up to me, and I really need to knuckle under and start finishing the courses that Musician offers, and actually focusing my practice and getting better with making certain that I'm accomplishing a goal, meeting certain criteria, I guess a guy could say, with my practice time and with my playing. I need that practice time to get to better and more focused so that I can improve the playing, right? But I know that's something I've got to do. And maybe what I need to do is write these things down, get a notebook and write down a practice plan for a month. This week is going to be all of this. This week is going to be all of that. I don't know. I do know that I need to be more focused with how I'm playing and what I'm practicing. Because I do spend way too much time with a guitar or a bass in my hand to not be a little further than I am, at least I think. It seems to me that after a year, I should probably be able to do quite a bit more. But that's because a lot of my quote-unquote practice time and learning time and that has just been playing songs and learning tunes. And, of course, that's helpful. But it isn't the fundamental basics, right? It's not the fundamentals aren't necessarily being mastered. And I think I'm starting to really notice how much that's impeding my progress in terms of really getting better, really getting better at playing the guitar and the bass. So that's something I need to kind of figure out, obviously, and I've said that for the last several weeks, but it does seem to become more and more apparent, especially as you start to think about less and less time, being able to give less and less time to practice. Sooner than later, I'm not going to be able to have 2 hours a day, 3 hours a day to just jack around and play my instruments. I'm going to lose some amount of time sooner than later, and that really is going to I'm going to really have to focus then. And I know that, and I know it, and I just, I think I'm like a lot of people. Well, I know this tune, man. It's so much more fun to play a tune. I just would rather play some songs, man, than knuckle under and do the work. But it's doing the work that matters. It's doing the work that is going to make you better. You can't skip out on the beginning and the fundamental shit and expect to be fantastic, right? So I do need to focus more when I practice and that. So that's the thing I got to work on this week. That's going to be part of my practice this week, is just try again, as I said last week, to be more focused, have a plan in mind for certain goals that I'd like to meet throughout the week, or at least over the course of the entire week. It's something I'm concerned about, because I do want to, hit that year mark, and I'm coming up on it in I don't know, 8 or 10 weeks. It'll have been about a year. And I would really like to be further along and be a better player and a better musician when I hit that year mark. And I mean, there's no reason, obviously that's self-imposed. Obviously there's no, there's no sort of laws or what have you written down somewhere on a scroll that says I have to. It's all me. I want to. So that's something I just got to knuckle under and get it done. 5 people right now is pretty good. That's awesome. Thanks for watching, guys. I sure appreciate you coming out and checking out the show. Hopefully it's not an entire, hopefully it's not a complete disappointment for you. But yeah, we sure appreciate you coming by. Thanks for checking us out. Like the videos, subscribe to the channel, comment, all that good stuff. Share the show. Yeah, and thank you for watching. So anyways, I did have some more MIDI time this week. Not a whole lot. I'm not, I can't lie, not a whole lot. I played, I messed around with it the other night, maybe for about an hour. I think right after at one point I sat down with it for about an hour this week at a certain, in one stretch. And I'm certain that I'm still missing a lot of stuff that I don't see that should be available in there, and I'm pretty sure the capabilities are there. But like I'm not seeing I've been told and led to believe that MPC Beats has its own built-in chord progressions and stuff like that. Well, I can't figure out how to get that to work. And I got this crazy MIDI pack that was free, like 32,000 chord progressions, blah, 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 or 3,200 chord progressions, whatever it was. And I can't seem to figure out how to integrate that into MPC Beats and use them. So, I'm kind of, now that I've, I think that this thing, right now anyway, the creation of digital music for me and the MIDI and that sort of thing, on that note, like it's the same, it's turning out to be the same, and I don't guess there's any reason I shouldn't have expected it to, but it's kind of the same as the guitar and the bass. You get so far and you kind of hit a plateau, and then you're not necessarily improving, you're just kind of there, and then something will happen, you get some sort of a little breakthrough, and things will move up a little. And that seems to be what's going on with this thing for me. So I'm kind of hitting that plateau again of, okay, well, I know that it can do these things, and I would like to do these things. I'd like to implement them. And again, I'm also still considering and pretty sure that I'm going to use one of these other services, a better set of software. And it's probably going to wait till I buy another computer. So who knows when that's going to be, but I do think I probably need a better machine than this goofy Chromebook to do that. Even if it is this Chromebook, it needs to be turned into something better and have Linux put on it, something that moves faster, and I can get rid of all the junk that's packed into this machine that I never asked for and can't get rid of. So, one of those things needs to happen. It needs to be a new computer. This one needs to be kind of redone. But I do think I would just want to use simply better software. More powerful, maybe more intuitive, but more powerful. Better software with, I think, better tones, too, with better sounds. I just can't figure out why. And it may be a computer thing, and that's why I haven't really fully made up my mind yet. It may be something with my computer that it's too slow to keep up with the amount of processing needed to have 5 or 6 different MIDI inputs in the same second, right? Maybe that's what's going on. I'm not sure. I don't know. Maybe that's why I'm getting what I'm getting. I don't know. So, because it'll play, there's some tracks I can put in there, and like the computer doesn't seem like it can keep up with it, and then you can't hear it clearly, and you have to go through and pull that one out or use a completely different starting point, which is kind of, again, that plateau and that kind of frustration I'm starting to get with that thing back. I'm starting to get that frustration back after having kind of passed that plateau once. I definitely, too, have started to look at some of these online classes, like honest to God. Well, I don't know about that, but, on it, somewhat, at least in based upon advertisement, more than just an online class, some of the Berkeleys and the Full Sail University and places like that do these online music degrees. You know, might not be the worst thing ever. I don't know. I'm not completely against it, you know, and at some point it'll be affordable for me, and I'll do it, and just to see. Well, I may do it, assuming that affordable is truly affordable. But I keep thinking about that because I'm sure that could, you know, open tons of doors, and you know, put you in a spot where you could probably just play all the time. You know, if that's your job, then obviously I can play music all the time, which is kind of the point of what we're doing here, to get to there, you know. There's going to be some practicing like that this week, and there's going to be some. I'll try to be a little more focused with some of the other parts of the show, or my practicing, and so try to figure out how to be more efficient. You know, I think in a lot of things, not just the playing of the music, but in a lot of things, I need to try to figure out how to be a bit more proficient this week, more productive with my practice again. It's just been big on my mind that it's coming on to that 1 year mark of the music being a thing for me, like so much of a thing for me, and this breed and this version, this style, this part of music, in terms of playing it instead of just listening, and now trying to create it. And it's cool. I've said it before. It is pretty cool to me, and I like watching those little steps. As I can look back, even on just a year ago, the little steps that you take of, well, I listen to music, and well, I own a guitar, and yeah, I can play one song, and you know, I know 2 chords, and hey, I can play 50 songs, and I know 5 or 6 chords, and I can't change them real fast, but I can change them a little bit, and I can play some music. I'm starting a YouTube channel about trying to learn how to play music, and how to pull joy and happiness from it, and watching those little steps, man, and then you know, the MIDI and all that, and it's just like cool. It's really cool to me that I've managed to, in less than a year, move from a position of never having done much other than really listen to music, never really having put too much effort into it, to music other than just listening, to a year later I'm thinking I need to really knuckle under and start cranking out songs, make my own music. It's kind of an interesting spot to be in. Not what I was thinking, you know, last July. Certainly not at all. But couldn't be happier with that's the path that I've decided to follow. It's been difficult, been rough, and the rough part's not over by any means. But the focus, the intent, those things are there now that weren't there. Those things have grown and come along just like the music playing. The intent of the world, the focus on which I try to move forward with that. You know, and I kind of what I mean by that, like, it's been a week, man. It's been a week, and I didn't really want to do the show on Wednesday night, and I didn't really want to do it tonight. And Sundays, well, I'm going to do Sunday morning show, and it's going to be perhaps a little bit different than some of the other ones. But it's still, this has been a tough week for to remember and pull the happiness and the joy from the music, the smiles. and the not feeling so stupid and crazy bad and weird and just off. And it's been a tough week for the music to do that, but the music has done it. And, you know, and that, again, is one of those things where I'm just like, wow, it's cool. This would have been a tough week for just purely the listening of music to have created, at least for me, what it did. So, yeah, like I said, I couldn't be more happy with how things have gone in a year. I just need to focus my practice and be a better player. You know, I mean, for Christ's sake, you know, fuck, a year into it, should a guy still be having trouble changing chords, you know, and strumming out 3-4 chords? No, probably not. But given that I spent the year, in 9 months of it, whatever, then, you know, focused on melody, and the single note playing, you know, melody type of stuff, and same with the bass, obviously, I also don't feel so bad. I mean, I've had this conversation with a couple other guys at the guitar store that, well, yeah, you could get up and you can play this song, that song, that song. Those are great, dude. And I can pick out the melody of this, and this, and you can't come close to that. And you've been playing the guitar for years. So I see some of that trade-off. But, again, I just need to focus and get better in the right areas, and just try to, you know, and that's part of it, too. I don't even know that I have a specific goal right now in mind for that 1-year mark. What do I want to have accomplished by that 1-year mark? Well, really, I've accomplished most of what I wanted. I would not call myself a musician, but if somebody asks me, I would say, well, I can play a guitar a little bit, a very little bit, or I can play a bass a very little bit. But that's a lot more than I could do 9 months ago, and I'm better at it than I was 3 months ago, way better at it than I was 6 months ago. So there's progress. I think I just would kind of like it to be a little faster, but again, I don't know, honestly, how does one measure success with a guitar versus other people, right? Like, is there some sort of a bell curve for guitar learning? And who threw the fucking bell off, man? What kind of asshole was that? Because I think I'm on the slow end of it. At least I think I'm on the slow end of it, but I don't rightly know, right? Because I don't know how other people learn, and that's kind of, again, what I wanted to do here is to hear from other folks, man, and hear how did you learn? You know, what kind of struggle did you have while you were learning? That's what I want to show here. That's what I want people to get in the chats and talk about, and that's the whole point of the channel, so we can all kind of discuss how we're learning right now or how we learned years ago, and this is what I would suggest to you, you know, as an old head. But yeah, that's the thing. Is there? Yeah, I don't know how to think of my progress in terms of general progress with a guitar, but from other people. You know, I have no idea how long it took anybody to learn how to do what they do, or how, you know. So, I don't know. Maybe I'm a little better at it. Maybe I'm a little further forward and further ahead than I think I am. I don't know. But I do know that for the 8 to 10 weeks I got left, I kind of really want to, like I keep saying, I need to knuckle under and put some more focus into, you know, chord changes and just general playing ability, pick speed, pick style, rhythm of my pick. And my right hand, work on my right hand, basically, is I guess what I'm getting at. Work on my right hand a little more. Not that my left hand doesn't need help. Not that my left hand doesn't need to continue to work, but I need to, again, be less concerned about playing songs and more concerned with working on the things that will allow me to play more songs, right? And try to not do all my learning simply by playing new songs, which isn't a bad way to learn, don't get me wrong. I don't think that's the worst way to learn, but I do think that doing a chord trainer a few times a day and playing scales over and over and over again 10, 15, 20 times a day is also extraordinarily helpful. So I need to do those things, and I know it. And I need to knuckle under and be better with my practice. So that's what we're going to try this week. We're going to try to keep doing it a little better. Keep improving. That's the big thing. Just try to keep getting better. And yeah, improve. That's just it. Improve. Practice with a goal. Practice with a reason in mind. I'm going to use this pedal. I'm pretty sure this pedal, like I said, is going to be a big part of my practice this week. So again, if you missed that episode on Wednesday, go check it out. It was all about, whatever. A good portion of the episode was about the JM4 looper, line 6 JM4 looper. It's an oldie but a goodie, right? A moldy oldie, but it works real well. They're not too expensive if you're interested in looping pedals. Some effects, there's plenty of effects on that pedal as well. Tremolo, reverb, phaser, flanger, chorus, blah, blah, blah. It's got several different things. Tape echo, sweep echo, tape echo, digital delay, and some amp voices, So it's got some stuff built into it as well as the looper and all the backing tracks and all that. It's again, in my beginner's mind, in my newbie mind, it's a pretty slick little device. It's easy to use, it's cheap, and helpful for me. So it's gonna be a big part of practice this week, because I can use the same box. I don't really have to change too much of anything, and I can play the bass through it and the guitar and get the same tracks to kind of learn how to improvise with. And I think that maybe I'm wrong, I don't know, but that the improv part of playing is going to be big for me this week, because I think that will also help me move forward, to learn and just know kind of where to flow onto the neck, on the fretboard, and know where to go, where I can and can't go, and get what I want, and get good sound, and make something up that sounds like a song, for crying out loud. So the pedal's gonna figure in big this week. Yeah, and yeah, I think, gang, I know this one's kind of short at a half hour, but I think we're probably going to shut her down for the night. I got to go to the bathroom, quite honestly. I got to go to the bathroom. You guys don't want to watch a bare white wall with a cactus on it behind me. And, there ain't nobody really watching the show anyways. According to my count, I got 3 viewers, and 2 of them are me. So, anyways, I really do appreciate anybody that comes and checks out this video tonight, tomorrow, anytime in the future. Thank you so much for coming by and watching. Please share the show with everybody you think that might be interested in music in some way, shape, or form. Let me know in the comments section. Send us an email, highdesertmusicchannel@gmail.com, all lowercase, all one word. Send us an email, put me some comments on the videos. Tell me what you guys want to see. What would you like the content to be focused on? More of, less of, that sort of thing. And, like I said, it was a crazy week, and a lot of shit going on. So anyhow, we'll see you Sunday morning, 9 o'clock Sunday morning, 9 a.m. Mountain Time on Sunday. And we'll do